She used to be an effing feeling. Now she's the BKFC Women's Strawweight inaugural champion. It's Britain Hart here in the building, and this Friday, BKFC 39. I'm going to call it a must-see rematch against Jenny Savage, Britt, because, you bring a lot of passion to these fights, and you get a lot of people interested. And first of all, how are you? Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, especially for basically the first day to kick off of fight week. So I know everybody's pumped and excited. It's like we're actually looking forward to everything going on this week. Yeah, exciting rematch, I would say, in the fact that it was probably my best performance to date. However, there was still a lot of criticism on my behalf for that fight. I know people are like, oh, she's wild. She throws a lot of punches. That wasn't skillful. I mean, to me, to let your hands fly is a skill. It really is.
Sure.
As many times as I've been in the boxing gym and seen people and the coaches yell, let your hands go. This girl does not have that problem. So I think it's a great skill, but hey, I'm going to give the people what they want, because you guys know I love the people. I feel like I'm a great people's champ, and I want to give them what they ask for, and they want a refined, better fight for this. Feels like a lot of people don't really like this crybaby girl, so they want to kind of show the world a lesson. Be careful what you ask for, because you're going to get it. And I'm looking for a better performance than last time, and I'm looking for a quicker performance than last time.
Well, you stopped her last time out of, I believe that was 2021, a couple of years back, right after your big breakthrough moment there. That got a lot of our attention against Paige Van Zandt, although I know you've been in the boxing game a long time. Is it fair to say, Britt, with you moving down in weight now, you're the inaugural strawweight champion, have you reinvented yourself as more of a pure boxer in this space than ever before?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to look at it. When I was a boxer, I was fighting at 118. My walk around weight was 118. Maybe a couple times I'd bounce up to 122. But when I started at BKFC and they had the 125 division, I was gobbling food. Everybody who knows me knows the day of weigh-ins, I'm sitting there eating bagels and Starbucks lattes. I don't have the experience of cutting weight, and I wasn't making an excuse. I knew what I was getting into with being a female, and a lot of people saying, well, you got to get what you get. And I made a really great name for myself, but it was kind of sometimes when you have people that are more skillful or bigger, sometimes you have to get dirty and out brawl them. Sure. Because skill for skill, it's going to go pound for pound. And, I tell everybody, when you hit somebody with a 5-pound weight, yeah, there's a difference when you hit somebody with a 20-pound weight. So, we put that in perspective with these girls that have weight on them. So, I got to get in there and do the damage or outbox. And that was kind of what I was hearing from everybody else. I don't think they really liked that brawler aspect of me, even though, now it looks like I've done, I am technical. I feel like my boxing is beautiful now. Now people are kind of like, whoa, wait a minute, Britain can't brawl. And I'm like, do we not, come on, guys, do we not remember the earlier Britain levels?
Yeah, watch the highlights. You'll see plenty of two-way action. But it's weird because this sport is, first of all, the sport's been around forever, the idea of bare knuckle boxing, but in a mainstream modern sense, it's still very young compared to boxing or MMA, which, shares some very close similarities to both. Is it just natural in your eyes that more people are starting to look at this, where maybe a couple of years ago it was, let me just come out and throw fists and see what happens. And now you are seeing a lot more strategy and using the rules to your benefit. When did that sort of pop in your mind to kind of evolve with this game as it's happening?
It was my first bare knuckle fight when I fought Beck Rollins, and I work with Reggie Barnett, who I'm actually going to be on the same card with. So it's just such a beautiful full circle thing, because I actually trained with him for my Beck Rollins fight in BKFC 2. So it was kind of there that I realized, that we don't have the gloves. So some of these catch and counter boxing moves aren't effective. And this clinch is a big deal. And you could tell everyone, I have no MMA background. I have not one professional MMA fight. I have no amateur fights. So everyone's like, oh, well, how do you be, a boxer is not going to do well in this type of transition, which a lot of people don't know why I went to boxing. I went to boxing because my life was a nightmare and was shit. And, I was on the streets fighting for my life, really for a good while. And so I'm used to, unfortunately, being hit in the face with a fist and knowing that there wasn't a ref to save me or a time limit that was going to expire. So going into this atmosphere was like almost like safer in some aspects, where I didn't really have that fear, but I looked at it as a knowledge gain point. Like, okay, well, if this is a clinch, then what am I going to do to fight out of it? And how am I going to be better at it? And you guys have seen that, I think, even with that Beck Rawlings fight in BKFC 2, I was killing her in the clinch, and my clinch game has only evolved. My boxing has only evolved. And now that they're put together, we saw my last fight with Teresa, which I think was really, honestly, my most beautiful performance. Maybe not best, but most beautiful. And her game plan was right there in front for everyone to see. She said, I'm going to make this fight ugly and dirty. And that first round, it's just like, man, like if you try to clinch me, like that's when I really stop thinking and I go into automatic mode. And, I just let my hands fly and go. Like, I'm going to outdog you in that clinch. On the outside, I love playing chess. I go into the sport, the combat side, the martial arts, kind of like setting everything up, all the beautiful stuff that the sports fans like. So I like combining both worlds. And I think bare knuckle does that. You have the entertainment, bar brawl, the people, the fans that, no offense, don't know anything. And then you have the sports fans that are like, wow, that was a beautiful jab, or look how she set that up. Or, I'm finding out not a lot of people know what feints are. Like, feigning is a really great thing in sport, and in this sport, and in bare knuckle especially, because you want to draw people out. And I love doing that. And I think some people don't give me credit where credit's due, because they don't understand so much of the skill of the sport. But I'm here to change that, like I do most everything.
I'm interested, separate from all the success you're having in BKFC, because you came from a more traditional boxing background and it has evolved into this. Has the BKFC experience made you want to do traditional boxing more or less? When you look at your future and the amount of fights you have left.
Actually, it's definitely more, because I look at it like, man, boxing, there's so many things I can go back and tell you guys about. And there's so many woulda, shoulda, couldas. And now I feel like I really, really know what I did wrong. And I know, more importantly, how to fix it. And I see all those opportunities out there. I also look at it as like, man, you're learning to ride a bike, and boxing was like with the training wheels on. And then bare knuckle is taking the training wheels off. So going back to boxing, if you can imagine, I really didn't have any fear before, but I damn sure don't have any fear putting the training wheels back on, which are, AKA gloves. So even though it is a little bit different, I think that bare knuckle, has really improved my defense. It's really improved my cognitive fight IQ on positioning. And I think I would love to go to boxing. I just want to be the best, fighter, the best human, best version of myself that I can. And I feel like boxing, I left a lot of unturned stones.
Look, you took over your opportunity that began with the Paige Van Zandt fight. It wasn't your first bare knuckle fight, but the idea of like, oh, who's this? And you did the viral moment on the microphone. You had a great performance. You've had great fights since then. What role do you think you sort of play in the promotion right now? I mean, you're certainly one of the faces in the promotion, but I got to be honest, maybe it's just this division or the division you came from. BKFC does such a great job playing up the trash talk, the saucy rivalry side of it, that a lot of times I'm looking at a card going, oh, Bret Hart is on that one. Yeah, I'm going to tune in. I mean, do you feel like you've been a big part of helping this sport get more legitimate in the eyes of the regular combat space?
Yeah, I think that's kind of why they picked me. Because they knew that, I'm a really raw, rugged, say it how it is type of girl. And I've always been that way. And, we joke about it all the time, but we say everyone wants real until they get real. And then all of a sudden they don't want it. So I kind of joke about it with the promotion, because they want real, and bam, they got it. And then it beat their, their moneymaker, Paige Van Zandt. They're like, oh shit, maybe we don't want real anymore. But, I keep thinking with them, I don't know. It's like the people that matter, I think, really see me as the face is BKFC. I wish BKFC thought that, but I guess it's just one of those things, how you feel like. I feel like I've been super loyal to them and dedicated. And, some of the things have been brought to my attention. And again, with the, me being keeping it real, that's just who I am. I'm always going to be that way. So when we go to these press conferences, when we see this stuff, it's not made up or fabricated, and people can actually really rely on that. Although sometimes I see comments every once in a while, they're like, wow, that's so cringe is the new word today. And I'm like, damn, like, well, that's who I am. I love cheesy pickup lines, and I love punching people in the face, and I love when people say stuff to set the record straight. So that's just me. But yeah, when I look at BKFC, I heard some of their speeches, and I've really been rolling with it here lately, taking like what my haters say with the negatives, with the criticisms, and really like using it to my advantage. And I heard through the grapevine, I didn't make the Mount Rushmore of BKFC. And I was like, damn, really? First, it kind of hurt. I was like, man, I feel like I've done so much for this company. I can't even make your damn mountain. But you know what? I wasn't made for the mountain. I was made to break through the mountains. And I'm really prepared to do that with this fight coming up next. So, and that's always been me from the beginning, is breaking through the boundaries, breaking through the limits. And if the organization is going to put them on me too, I'm going to break through those as well.
Well, you're in Friday night's co-feature, BKFC 39, like we mentioned, Norfolk, Virginia. Second time around for Jenny Savage, but you never hide your thoughts on anybody when they put a microphone in front of you. So what's the heat level on the beef between you, and what's the sort of origin of this?
Yeah, really, honestly, the bottom line is this girl's batshit crazy is really what it is. And I think everybody can see that. And it's evolved throughout the years. And it's kind of like, it's a good lesson for kids to kind of pay attention to right now, is like with these bullies and cyber bullies that just won't leave you alone. And then you think, well, man, if I whoop their ass, they'll leave me alone after. Well, sometimes they don't get the message, and they need an ass whooping the second time, and it needs to be more convincing. And I feel like that's with this girl. She stormed in on me with the Paige fight, whatever, old news. We settled it, right? I thought it was an awesome performance. I mean, it was definitely one of my brutal, like most action-packed, relentless fights I've ever had in my life. And, we were good for a day or two. And then the next, after that, she was posting, excuses why she lost the fight, basically saying I'm cheating, saying this and that, just whatever. So it doesn't matter. I'm over it. I, ignore her. And it's just like, because she didn't get a reaction out of me, the lies and the gossip kept growing and growing and growing. So finally, I have to even be like, man, enough is enough. Like, if this is really what I got to deal with, like, man, we got to sure, give me the best fight I've ever had. Give me the best on paper fight I've ever had, and let's make it again. That's fine, because I'm not scared to know. I don't even know why I let it get under my skin when people say, oh, Britain's scared. I'm like, have you guys looked at my resume? Do you look at the people I've fought? I'm not scared of anything. I'm really not, and so it's not a matter of that. It's just a matter of my time. And I hate for my time to be wasted. And I'm sensitive to that sometimes. And I look at this fight and I look at who I want to be. And like I said, I really do. I shouldn't care what people say, but I do. I take it in consideration when people say, oh, that wasn't skill. That was just throwing a bunch of freaking punches. And in my heart, and other people know, what it was. But this gives me my opportunity to, go and try to just be like, again, I'm an entertainer. People are paying to watch these fights, and it's not just about me. It really isn't. I know people think that, and I'm sacrificing my life in this ring. I'm got scars on my face. I've broken my nose, broken my hand. I have missing teeth. Like, everybody knows this, I'm not shy about it. I've literally sacrificed and bled and lost shit for this sport, so to go in, I don't need to hear people say, oh, Britain's getting, a freebie. I don't like that shit. Or Britain's getting, oh, they love Britain because, hey, at the end of the day, you guys aren't backstage with me, it's not as easy as it looks, and there's a lot of things that I have to just keep moving and keep them positive about, so people don't see the whole entire story. But I'm definitely here to give it to them.
well, we've seen your evolution as a bare knuckle fighter that we talked about. Jenny Savage put together a couple wins in your weight class, a nice stoppage win her last time out. How do you speak to her level of evolution since the first time you two have met?
I really don't think there has been any. I mean, I'm not like super pissed and bad about it. I mean, I think again with women, it's unfortunate, but we get what we get. It's really not as big. It's really not as stacked as what people think it is. You know, look at me. I'm on my third rematch. Like, come on, guys. Like 3 rematches. And so in one sport, not like my whole life, like in this one sport. So there's not that many. So 115, you know, hey, I get it. You know, I feel like that was one of her excuses before too. She was like, oh, at 125, Britain's bigger. And, you know, look, if you guys look back, I weighed in at 123 and she weighed in at 124. So, you know, definitely, you know, the weight class means jack shit to me, honestly. But, you know, with her performances, she fought Delaney, and I really adore Delaney. I think she's awesome. I think she's a beginner level boxer, and I think she has a lot of room to grow. But she's, you know, she's definitely a traditional boxer, and I thought that fight was, you know, I thought it could have gone either way. To be honest, I really didn't see Jenny Savage winning all those rounds and being really competitive in that fight, and I think it was kind of like a couple people thought it went the other way. Now with this last fight, it was a really quick fight. And I think, again, if people look at the bigger picture, that girl only has 4 months fight experience. So yeah, she just started boxing, bare knuckle fighting 4 months ago, any combat sport 4 months ago, before Jenny Savage fought her. So, you know, not taking anything away, and super kudos to the girl getting in the ring, because it's courageous and it's hard, and I don't want to take anything from anybody, but at the end of the day, you know, I have to speak what my truth on it is. And yeah, when I look at that, hey, can I don't want to say, I said earlier that I don't want the easy route, you know. I don't even know if it would be possible for me to fight someone who only had 4 months combat experience, you know, when they're like throwing Beck Rollins at me, Christine Pearl Gonzalez, like, man, if they sign Heather Hardy, that's gonna, you know, whoever is the toughest, hardest person, you bet Britain's gonna be the one who's contracted to fight them. So, you know, when it comes down to that, you know, I don't want to be like envious or jealous of any situation, but, you know, call a spade a spade.
Sure, sure. There you go. When you look at this game, and look, you mentioned we all, any of us that have a public face, there's social media. You can, what I'm saying is, if you want to find the negative, it's available to you, and it could tear you down if you let it. But the social media aspect of comments on Instagram posts or YouTube or whatever also kind of allows you to see the good if it's out there. What moves you? Because you live your life in a very public way. We saw the highs and lows of your personal and professional life from following you. You lose the title bout at 125. They create a new title at 115 and you climb the mountain. You're the champion. You've been through the highs and lows. What motivates you to let you know you're doing something right? You're on the right path. You're touching others when you do hear back from the public.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exactly that. I say it, when I go in that ring, you know, I'm really a reflection of everybody who loves me and believes in me. And, you know, it started not that many, but those few needed somebody. I really feel like they needed that beacon of light to go in and not say, well, you know, I haven't done this that long, and I don't know, like, you know, like, hey, no, I do believe in this. This isn't something that I just half-ass do. This is my dream. I am a fighter. Like, that's the very essence of what I am. And if I ever give up and quit doing that, then I just destroy that whole message and legacy for just where this started out, with just a few people, like 3 or 4 people. Now I have hundreds of people, and it's amazing and it's beautiful, but it's like, wow, you know, it only builds in the intensity. And I think that's why you guys see such an evolution change within myself, because of all these new people and the energies I'm absorbing from them. And, you know, when I went through some tragic times back, like about a year ago, you know, I've learned, like, it was so hard, and I just felt like so responsible to tell people why I'm cutting off from them and why I'm not there for them. And when I opened up, I I felt all these messages, all these things of, hey, I've been there. We're not, you know, you're not alone. And then I'm looking at it at the other side, is like, wow, like, I'm crying about going through this. Like, I don't even want to bring up like the horror stories or things that I've seen and personal stories that have been shared with me, but my life's not that bad. And I think that's really what we could say and share with everybody that's going through shit in their life is it could be worse, and we can bounce back from this and we can rise above it. And, that's why I hashtag here to rise. It's not just, because of me, it's for everybody. I say Britain Army because I really want to instill that in everybody. I want there to be an army out there that says, I can do it. Not Britain can do anything, because that's really great. And I love that. But I want the Britain Army to think, man, I can do that. I have a dream and I deserve better. I deserve a better job or something to make me feel alive and have that spark again. I deserve a better partnership. I deserve better friends. I deserve a better life from just settling and being mediocre. And I really feel like I get that message across. And the people that are really in my corner are people that are like-minded like me. And it's an amazing thing. So at the end of the day, yeah, I do it for them, because sometimes, this shit's hard. And with winning the belt, I really just wanted to win one belt. I didn't really think this would mean so much to me, but to have the messages of everybody say, you got this, we're believing you, we're coming, we already bought our tickets. I'm like, oh, these guys, now I got to go harder than ever, so this is for sure. I'm really, really excited, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's not words. I think you guys are going to see it. I think when I weigh in, and of course on fight night, you guys are going to see, but I think on weigh-ins, you guys are going to be like, oh, wow, Britain has really, really worked hard for this. And, this is the best shape I've ever been in. I really do believe that. And so my skill has just got to be on par with that and be the best skill that it's ever been.
I have a lot of respect for what you've done with the platform that you've earned, because when we saw you, I mean, you went viral with the interview after the PVZ fight. I think people are like, that's a different kind of crazy. I want to see that. But then I interviewed you after that. A lot of people did. Then we find out you've got this sort of inspirational core to you of not giving up and of overcoming. So when I mentioned, you've kind of lived it publicly, some of the ups and downs that come to all of us in life. So what do you lean on? Even today when times gets hard, how does Britain Hart get out of bed each morning when it's not easy for any of us sometimes?
Oh man, it's a tough one. It's a hard thing. It really is, because, I love my family and my immediate family and my immediate friends. And, but it was put to me this way from a coach actually out in California, who really was my coach for, the Paige Van Sant fight. And I really truly believe that's why I won that fight, and why I felt that feeling is because of a conversation with him. And it was like, look, it's not enough to say you want to be a hero. Everybody wants to be a hero, right? It sounds cool. It's pretty neat. Got the cape on and you're powerful. But what does a hero really mean? And a hero, isn't waking up just for your children and your spouse and your friends because they should be good. If you're doing your job right, they're taken care of. What about the other million children that aren't taken care of? What about the million children that don't have a mom? What about the million people out there that don't have a friend? And if you were a hero, what would you choose? Would you choose your 2 children, or would you choose a million children that needed you? And when you find out what decision you would make, and that's a hard, hard decision, it really is, when you really think about it, what you would choose. When you say, man, I would die and do anything, because that's easy. Dying for something you believe in is easy. It's not that hard. I would die for my kids like that. Sure. But to sit there and choose between 2 children and a million kids is a harder decision when you think about what you had to save and what you would have to do with your life. And I really think about that every morning I wake up on today, on what impact I can do. Is it just to change the people that are around me, or is it to change the bigger picture in the whole world? And that's really when I'm feeling down, and I do feel down. I feel like giving up sometimes. And I talk to people like Hannah, who I've never met before in real life. And, this girl lives in Canada, and for some weird reason, I don't even know why, because it's really not something I do often, but I sent her a t-shirt one time because she had made a comment on social media. I really wish I could get a t-shirt, but I can't afford it. And man, again, guys, I'm not really like, I don't really do this, but for some reason that day I was like, I'm going to send this girl a t-shirt. And since then, you know, we've been best friends. She comments on everything. She's, you know, she sends me like, she's more positive than me. She is the essence and definition of a Britain army. She was someone who was, you know, inspired by me, but became better than me. Like, she's better than me. And that's what I want. That's what I want from my two children. I want them to be better than me. And that's what I want from all the children out there and everybody else in the world that's going through shit. I want them to be better than me, because I haven't handled everything perfect, but we can all do better, you know? And I think that's really what gets me motivated in the morning. That's what keeps me from giving up. Because I do sometimes, I really do. And there's the people out there, they know who they are. They'll say something and I'm like, let's go lace up those shoes and run that extra mile, you know, because they're watching.
No, I appreciate you being so candid and sharing that, what gets you going. You mentioned a coach in California. If I'm an old school boxing guy, are we talking about Coach Haas? Are we talking about the Mohawk, Joseph Janik? Is that where we're going with this?
I am. He's probably, when I really look at my life, you know, there's a lot of people that really were like influential, and I hate to really like, you know, but as far as being what a hero means, you know, that man's a hero. Like, he is one true definition of a hero, and somebody I look at and I'm like, he's my role model. He's who I want to be, you know, and his advice and how calm he is. He's a great hell of a coach, but man, I'm telling you guys, he's got the best outlook on life that I've ever seen and witnessed. And I really think he's a hero to a lot of people out there.
We on this show, Morning Combat, my co-host Luke Thomas is a big fan of tattoos. He's got ink all over. So we play Rate That Tat from time to time, because he could get, you know, into the technique of a tattoo and the design and the artistry. And I think we show, don't you have some kind of eagle on your left arm or something similar to that?
I do, and I'm actually going to be repping Cultura Tattoo on my sports bra for my fight, because I'm so in love with it. But here, let's see. Oh, I have the tape on here.
Well, we had the great Luke Thomas look at it, Britt, and he had raving reviews for the artistry of whoever you had work on that.
Yeah, so it's a phoenix.
Excellent.
Down and all around in my hands. But weird angle, but anyway, we'll do a better picture on it later.
Are you going to debut any new ink ahead of this fight Friday night?
No, I think about it all the time, because I'm a big person with ink therapy and it's like the best. So I do always think about it, but then I'm like, oh man, what if it gets infected and I gotta not put, but anyways, so no new ink for this fight, but you can damn bet after I win this one, I am gonna go get some new ones for sure.
Excellent work. Well, Britt Hart, I could talk to you forever, but you got to get ready for Friday night. It's a rematch. Jenny Savage, BKFC 39, Virginia. What should we expect in this one? The strawweight title at stake.
Yes, you know, and it is my strawweight title. I definitely bled and sacrificed for it. So, you know, and this is my house. This is, you know, Virginia. This is where I went to high school, graduated from college. This is where I met two children. And I'm telling you, I'm a dog. And if you come into a dog's house and try to take their food, you know, it's not going to go well for the other dog. So, you know, especially when they're a Chihuahua. So I'm going to show everybody who the big dog is. Really, you guys are going to physically, mentally, emotionally feel it and see it. And yeah, I'm looking. This is my 10th bare knuckle fight. Some of you guys see the evolution, and it comes out like that: 8.0, 9.0. This is definitely going to be the 10.0 version of myself. I'm going to put it all together. It's going to be beautiful and finesse, but it's going to be dangerous and brutal, and just, yeah, I'm looking for a better performance than I've ever had before. And I've been drinking these Minute Maid juices as inspiration that I'm going to knock this girl out in a minute.
Rematch with Jenny Savage is Friday. Look, you win that, you defend your title. Probably going to put you on the Mount Rushmore anyway, Britt Hart. Okay. So great talking with you. One of the BKFC's finest. Best of luck this weekend. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.